If y'all didn't know this about me already, I am what you would call a lazy gamer. I put minimal effort into my gaming and just kind of chill out and vibe and kind of play for funsies. I have always been really big into video games, even as a child. I've been into it for a while, and they've just always been really cool to me. I have always been fascinated with video games from a very, very young age. I remember one of the earliest games we played were those on the computer, just silly, like educational games. Not that education is silly, but some of those games that they made back then were silly, and I'm here for it. I remember we had this one that you just played a little xylophone, little digital xylophone, and that's all it was, but I could not stop playing it. I played it every chance I got. Oh no, he's whacking the heck out of me. Alright, I'm done with that guy. I gotta go find somebody to torch. But anyway, I've always been fascinated with video games, and I remember when one of my siblings got their hands on a Game Boy, like the really big chunky one, the one that is a brick with buttons. Anyway, my siblings and I would watch each other play Wario World on the original Game Boy. Or maybe it was the Game Boy Color. Honestly, it's been a while. And it was so fascinating. I just couldn't stop watching. I was just so blown away by the technology and the adventure of it all, and the challenge and the mental stimulation. Stimulation. Apparently I need some mental stimulation right now, because I can't talk. We would spend time playing video games together, and it was one of those memories that I really, really cherish, even though at the time it was really frustrating because it was technically my sister's Game Boy, and we all just had to watch her play. But anyway, I remember when we finally started getting large consoles for the house. We had a Nintendo 64, and I would sneak out at night, sneak out of my bedroom so I could get my chance to play the Nintendo 64 unhindered. So yeah, I've always been fascinated, always been overly enthusiastic. I wouldn't say overly enthusiastic, but I would say emphatically interested in video games. Anyway, I used to play games competitively, or semi-competitively, when I was much, much younger. I went to study at a university for a little while. And instead of being super diligent with my studies, I spent a lot of time playing Guitar Hero. I remember Guitar Hero being such a big deal. And I was very proud of myself because one year I ended up being the Guitar Hero champion for a college-wide tournament. And I remember that being one of the proudest moments that I had had up till that point in my life. I was so proud. I had such a good time. I felt really great, and it was great to share that with other people. Because I will say one thing about it. It is really fun to win, and it is really fun to get that experience of feeling on top of the world because you accomplished it. But I'll say what made it really fun for me was getting to share that moment with other people. It wasn't just me beating the game by myself, it was me having fun with my friends and people that eventually did become my friends. Oh boy, I am lost, y'all. It'd be like that sometimes. But one thing, having a singular console in the household, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier. We learned how to share. And I'm coming back around to this point. I'm not saying I'm a lazy gamer because I like to share. What I am saying, however, is gaming was such a communicative experience because you didn't play the game for yourself. You played it with your siblings or your friends or the kid down the street that you didn't know their name, but you knew they had a Super Nintendo and you lost your mind just so you could go play it. So you would, even if you had a game that wasn't multiplayer, it was so much more fun to take turns swapping who had the controller. And the best part was watching your siblings play or your friends play. And then when, inevitably, you had the rule where if I die or you die, you switch out the controller. So the best part was watching your friends play, and when they died, or it was your turn, you're like, oh, I'm going to do better than they did, sure. But then, there were all those fun moments back and forth. I really enjoyed video games. I still enjoy video games. But there was a period in my life where I hit some major burnout and irritation with the game. I guess part of it was that I was in a point in my life, and up until very recently, where I was afflicted with perfectionism, one might say. So I got really caught up in wanting to play video games the same way I wanted to do life, the right way, the way that I'm supposed to, the way that it was intended to. When in reality, y'all, I think I finished this level. I need to go out of here. Playing video games kind of became a chore for me. I focused on how other people played games better than I did, or faster, or they were more successful. I spent a lot of time wondering how I could play like other people, or play the game better, or faster, or stronger, or smarter. And I got really frustrated. There were a lot of times where I'd be playing a multiplayer game, and if I didn't win, I'd get really upset about it. Or if I didn't get that perfect score, I'd be really upset about it. And I think part of that had to do with the fact that around that time, the internet became very popular. Oh, I'm starting to date myself a little bit here, but the internet became very popular. And so you were starting to be able to look up just about anything you wanted to learn about a game. You could look up guides. You didn't have to wait to buy one at the store. You didn't have to wait and make sure that your friends knew first and steal ideas from them. You could literally just go online and look everything up. And with that came this sense of, oh, well, I need to do it in just the right way. I need to be the very best, like no one ever was. And while I do cherish Pokemon, and I still play Pokemon, which is one of my favorite games that I ever played, or I guess I should say series of games that I've ever played, there was that mentality of perfectionism behind everything. Later in life, I kind of did a lot of introspection. I did a lot of self-analysis, and I asked a lot of questions. I asked myself, why am I not enjoying video games anymore? Why am I not enjoying a lot of things anymore? And not just gaming, but I kind of lost a lot of that zhuzh, or lack of a better word, due to some of that perfectionism and anxiety and stress and self-imposed limitations. So I went through this period of reflection, and I kind of rediscovered a few things about myself that I forgot since I was younger. Well, particularly with video games, I started thinking about my reasons for playing them. Obviously, played them because they were fun, but it was much more than that. Letting go a little bit, giving myself the freedom to explore other worlds and solve puzzles and experience new things that I can't experience in regular life. Sometimes it was escaping somewhere nice or interesting for a little while. Sure. But for the most part, it was because I wanted to add to my life, not escape it. Meeting new people, new characters, being something that I can't be in real life, such as a dragon. I love playing Spyro the Dragon because you get to run around as this little guy and you have a little dragonfly friend. Oh goodness. I can't breathe fire in real life, so this is an added experience that I wouldn't have otherwise. And then, tiny little victories that you overcome, that little excitement. I could be reading a book, which is great. I could be watching a show, which is interesting. But this is such an interactive way to engage in storytelling. You can craft to be your own. It's just serotonin-inducing num treats for the brain. So some of my favorite things, like I said, is sharing my gaming experience with other people. And this comes out in games like Smash Brothers or Mario Kart 64. I started having a lot more fun with video games again when I stopped needing to win. The long and the short of it was needing to win was getting in the way of me actually enjoying what I was doing, and it just became hyper competitive and uninteresting. So some of the best moments in gaming, I find, are not when you've won, not when the cool thing happened the way you thought it would happen, but instead when something really silly happened. Some of the funniest moments were also from celebrating somebody else's victory. Particularly with Super Smash Bros. I used to not play Super Smash Bros. With my friends, right? Because I am not very good at it. And I didn't give myself room to not be good at something. It wasn't until recent years where I have started to play games like Super Smash Bros. With joy. Some amount of excitement and interest and energy and enthusiasm. Because I remember one of my siblings came to visit and we played a round of Smash Brothers, and I think I won one time out of all the matches we played. But oh my gosh, I had so much fun, and that every now and then when I would knock somebody completely off the stage to where they hit the screen in front of you, or when that happened to me, it felt really good. I was like, oh wow, that really cool thing happened. And sometimes it's just fun to do the thing. I like playing with the Pokemon trainer, and I love being able to play as Squirtle because I get to say, Squirtle, Squirtle! Anyway, one thing I'll also say while I'm talking about this is that interesting time where we have to sell ourselves to such a degree that it's hard to lift each other up by pointing out all the great things about them. I'm not saying that individually we don't do this, but I think we fall into that trap of needing to announce why we're the best so that other people believe it, even if we don't believe it. One thing that's really cool is it gives us so many opportunities to kudo each other. I am also an avid player of Dungeons & Dragons, and one of my DMs started doing this thing called Inspo Bits. And basically, it's a kudo system. We bestow upon each other inspiration, which is kind of like a little bonus you get, for every 3, let's say, kudos that you get from other players for doing cool stuff. And it turned into such a fun thing. We all just say, hey, oh my gosh, good job doing that. You get an inspo bit. And then eventually that adds up to inspiration, which lets you do even better. It's a way to add fun and interesting things and a way to build each other up. I love doing that in multiplayer games. It's so satisfying, that payoff when you actually win. Another instance of when I really enjoyed a game for what it was and not what it should be was this game. It was like, I don't know if any of y'all remember this old arcade game called Virtual On, and it was basically like a Gundam simulation fighting game. I remember watching others play it for hours because the line to play it was so long, and everyone really wanted to play it, and I get it. I did too. And when I finally got to play it, I think I won on either my second or first try. I won my first match. And it was such an exhilarating feeling. It was so incredible. I really enjoyed that experience because I won, but it wasn't using some or really any amount of research other than just watching and planning what I would do whenever I finally got a turn at the arcade chair slot thing. Back then, you really couldn't do a ton of online research, so you just figured things out. One thing I like to think about is that perfectionism kills creativity. It murders it. You spend too much time worrying about the meta. You spend too much time worrying about what you should be doing. And that's, like I said, that's what my biggest problem was for a very long time. How am I supposed to play this game? What am I supposed to do? For me, there was no more discovery once everything was put on the internet. One thing I like to address, what do I want to get out of a video game? First and foremost, I just want to have fun. I just want to enjoy my time, and I don't want to be anxious. Well, at least a tiny bit of anticipation anxiety is one thing, but I don't want to be stressing about a game. I want to have a sense of pride in what I do and accomplish. Hear a story, tell a story, interact with the world in a new way. I love exploration games. That's why I like survival titles so much. You'll see I play Ark, I play Conan Exiles, I like Minecraft. Palworld is really fun too. Another thing I really get out of video games is a tiny sense of control and comfort. Sometimes I just want to vibe with a game and just do something that I know I can control. One thing I really like about Stardew Valley is that I can predict so many days after I plant a crop, I know I can expect, so long as it doesn't get eaten, that I can get that crop to grow. I started enjoying not only video games, but just life in general when I stopped treating this like a job, because I don't need to make everything I do work. I don't worry about, looking stupid anymore, because whether I try to or not, that inevitably will happen at times. If you live life, there will be times that you look stupid. You do something stupid. You say something stupid. You are in a stupid situation. There are so many talented sports gamers. There are people who make a living from playing games competitively, and that's how they enjoy playing, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. They know what they want to get out of it. And I think so long as I focus on the reasons I play, I will continue to enjoy what I'm doing. As a rule, I don't look things up too much, I don't research too much, and I don't worry about looking stupid. And if y'all keep watching me on here, you're going to see me doing a lot of stupid stuff. It was like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that somebody taught me that you can go up the mountains in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet by jumping up backwards. That's absolutely silly. I would have never thought of that. And I have applied it, and it's very fun. But it wouldn't have been nearly as fun had I researched that. Trying to do it right and be right and worrying too much about the details and what other people think can really change the whole vibe of a game, or really anything. I don't have to 100% everything to feel that sense of accomplishment. I'm reclaiming the word lazy as not a bad thing. Sure, it's not what people like to describe themselves as, but I don't think the word casual cuts it. I may not be the best video gamer that ever existed. That's all. I don't know what you expected me to say after that, but I promise you, I have a blast. Don't forget to save your games, and I'll see you in the next episode.